There comes a moment when silence becomes more powerful than action, when walking away becomes louder than words ever could. The path to peace is not about gaining more, but removing what corrupts the soul. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less, or rather do what's essential." The wisdom hidden in those words isn't about minimalism, it's about purification. To find inner strength, we must first eliminate what poisons our mind and weakens our spirit. 1. The need for validation. We live in an age where people don't live for truth anymore. They live for attention. Every word, every achievement, every step must be witnessed, liked, or applauded. But what happens when no one claps? Most people crumble, because their worth was never built on their soul, it was built on reactions. The first thing you must quietly eliminate from your life is the need for validation. It's the silent killer of peace, the thief of authenticity, and the root of emotional chaos. Epictetus warned us, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." What he meant is simple. Once you stop caring about being understood, you start understanding yourself. Validation is the chain that keeps the strong bound to the weak. It makes men dance for approval instead of walking their own path. But the Stoic knows he does not need the crowd's applause to confirm his worth. His measure of self is internal. He finds satisfaction in doing what is right, even when it goes unseen. We must learn to live like the mountain, firm, unmoved by storms, untouched by praise, because when your peace depends on how others see you, you've already lost it. The wise do not live to be admired. They live to be aligned with their principles, their reason, their truth. To eliminate the need for validation is to step into a realm of terrifying freedom. You no longer chase, you become. And once you reach that state, the noise of others becomes irrelevant. Their opinions can neither build you nor destroy you. As Seneca said, "He who seeks wisdom must first remove himself from the multitude." And in that silence you'll realize your worth was never up for debate. 2. The habit of emotional reaction. The second thing we must eliminate is the habit of emotional reaction, the constant surrender to impulses that weaken our spirit. Most people live as slaves to their emotions. Anger dictates their tone, fear shapes their choices, and pride ruins their peace. They do not control their minds control them. The Stoics understood that the greatest war is internal. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." And yet, how many of us actually live by that truth? We react to every insult, panic at every uncertainty, and chase every temporary pleasure, as if the world owed us stability. But stability doesn't come from control. It comes from mastery. To master yourself means to remain calm in chaos, patient in pain, and unshaken by loss. It means refusing to be moved by things that do not deserve your reaction. It's the art of emotional stillness, the power of not responding when your ego is screaming to fight back. People who constantly react give away their power piece by piece, but those who choose to observe, those who breathe, pause, and think, command life like warriors of the mind. This is not weakness. This is control, the kind of control that terrifies those who live ruled by impulse. In the words of Epictetus, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The moment you realize that, you stop being a puppet of circumstance, you start to rise above it. You begin to live as a calm observer in a storming world. When you eliminate reaction, you begin to live deliberately. You stop being a victim of emotions and start becoming the architect of your peace. You no longer drown in anger or envy, you simply see them and let them go. Because true strength is not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. 3. The illusion of control. There's a quiet form of suffering that most people never notice, the constant attempt to control everything. They try to control how others see them, how events unfold, and even the flow of time itself. But this illusion of control is the seed of endless frustration, because the more you try to dominate what was never yours to command, the more powerless you become. The third thing we must eliminate from our lives is this obsession with control, the silent disease of the restless mind. The Stoics understood this deeply. Epictetus taught that some things are up to us and some are not. In that single line lies the blueprint for inner freedom. Yet, how many of us live chained to the opposite belief? We try to force outcomes, to bend people into who we want them to be, to manipulate fate into aligning with our desires, and when it doesn't, we break. The truth is, control is not strength. Acceptance is. Because the man who needs to control everything is ruled by fear. Fear that if he lets go, everything will collapse. But the wise man knows that what collapses when you stop forcing it was never meant to stand. When we release the need to control, something paradoxical happens. We regain our power, not over the world, but over ourselves. And that's the only control that ever mattered. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." The one who lives by that law cannot be disturbed. He no longer resists life, he flows with it. Control addicts are tortured by uncertainty. They cannot rest until every variable is secured. But uncertainty is not our enemy, it's our greatest teacher. It reminds us that nothing external was ever promised. That peace can only exist where surrender begins. Think about the storms we face: betrayal, loss, change, rejection. Each one reveals how fragile our illusions are. We spend our lives trying to control what we can't and neglect what we can. We obsess over being liked, but forget to be virtuous. We chase recognition, but abandon self-discipline. We fight time, but waste it daily. Seneca warned us of this tragedy. We suffer more in imagination than in reality, he said, because our need for control forces us to live in anxiety over things that haven't even happened. The Stoic does not live like that. He prepares for the worst, but does not fear it. He acts with purpose, but accepts what comes. This isn't apathy, it's power in its purest form. The calm power of someone who knows the limits of their influence and uses their energy only where it matters. While others panic over circumstances, he focuses on response. While others break under change, he adapts with grace. To eliminate the illusion of control means to walk a razor-thin path between discipline and detachment. You still plan, work, and act with precision, but your peace doesn't depend on results. You fight with full strength, but accept defeat with calm dignity. That's what separates the Stoic from the ordinary. He does not fight reality, he cooperates with it. Control is an addiction of the ego. Letting go is the liberation of the soul. The moment you stop trying to force life to obey your will, life starts aligning with your true rhythm. Not because the universe suddenly bends for you, but because you finally stopped resisting its flow. This is the ultimate paradox. The more you try to control, the more you lose. The more you surrender, the more you master. We live in a world where everyone wants to predict, dominate, and dictate, but the truly intelligent know the secret. Calm acceptance is not weakness, it's wisdom. As Epictetus said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. That is the essence of inner peace. Not running from uncertainty, not fighting chaos, but becoming untouchable within it. So eliminate your need to control outcomes. Stop fighting the tide. Stand still in the storm and learn to trust the rhythm of life. Because when we stop trying to dominate the world and start mastering ourselves, we find something we've been searching for all along. Peace that cannot be stolen, no matter what happens next. 4. The poison of comparison. There is a quiet poison that runs through nearly every human heart. Comparison. It disguises itself as ambition, as motivation, as the desire to be better. But beneath its mask, it corrodes everything it touches. It takes our peace, turns gratitude into envy, and transforms contentment into constant hunger. The fourth thing we must eliminate from our lives is this silent obsession with comparing ourselves to others. Comparison is not awareness, it is blindness, because when we look at others to measure our worth, we lose sight of what we truly are. We become prisoners of illusions, chasing shadows of other people's success, while forgetting the vastness of our own potential. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor who ruled one of the greatest empires in history, wrote in his Meditations, "It is not the man who has too little that is poor, but the one who hankers after more." Think about that. The man who constantly looks to others for his sense of worth will never be satisfied, no matter what he achieves. He could own kingdoms and still feel empty, because his peace is never his own. It's borrowed from others' approval. In Stoic philosophy, comparison is seen as one of the great traps of the mind. Epictetus warned that we must never measure our happiness by external things, because external things belong to fortune, not to us. The moment we measure ourselves by them, we hand over our power. We let other people's lives dictate our inner weather. The truth is, the path of self-mastery is not a race. It is a solitary climb, one that cannot be compared. Seneca once said, "No man can set in order another man's life who has not yet set his own in order." Yet most of us spend our days judging, envying, and secretly resenting those who seem to be ahead, not realizing that their mountain is not ours. Their path was never meant to be walked by our feet. Comparison is the thief of inner peace because it makes you forget how far you've come. It keeps you staring at the horizon of someone else's achievements while you neglect the ground beneath your own feet. You start to think you're behind, when in truth, you're exactly where you need to be. The Stoic mind doesn't measure progress by titles, wealth, or recognition. It measures progress by control over the passions, over anger, over the endless chatter of desire. True strength is not shown in what you possess, but in what you can live without. And yet, society teaches us the opposite, that to be somebody, you must be seen, known, admired. But the Stoic knows, it is better to be virtuous in silence than impressive in noise. When you stop comparing yourself, you begin to see. You begin to notice the quiet dignity of your own journey, the moments of endurance, the silent victories that no one claps for, but still transform your soul. You begin to appreciate pain for what it teaches, solitude for what it reveals, and simplicity for what it restores. Comparison is the child of insecurity, and insecurity is the product of a mind that has forgotten its own power. When we compare, we step outside ourselves. We hand over our judgment to others, and in doing so, we betray our own nature. The Stoics taught that everything you need to live well is already within you. But as long as you're looking outward, you'll never find it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Do not waste the rest of your life worrying about others, unless it affects the common good. It will rob you of your peace." What he meant was simple. Focus on your circle of control. If someone's success inspires you, learn from it. But if it stirs bitterness or envy, it's a sign that your soul has drifted from its center. The wise do not look around to find validation. They look within to find order. They understand that every man's path is measured by his discipline, not his display. So let others rush, let others boast, let others decorate their lives with noise and show. We will walk quietly, steadily, deeply, with peace that does not depend on applause. Get exclusive content and deeper insights. Join our membership today. Link in the description. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the Stoic Verse for more wisdom to guide your journey.